Mm, I don't know. I mean, can I tell a funny story? Is
Yeah,
that
for sure.
okay?
Yeah.
So, so the only one particular memory I have when I was involved in the Chinese head tax redress campaign was that we actually had to sometimes travel to Ottawa to lobby, like meet with the Minister of Multiculturalism or Heritage, and I met with many head taxpayers or their widows or family members, and I remember this one particular gentleman that we went to Ottawa with him. He was one of the many head taxpayers who were subject to the racist law, and so after kind of traveling to Ottawa back and forth, he started to write to me, and then he wanted to have lunch with me. So I kind of felt like obligated. So I met with him and his wife for lunch, and turns out he wanted to match me with his grandson. And so I kind of had to, explain, well, I actually have a partner. And he's like, maybe I can introduce your grandson to somebody else. And he said, no, I don't want anybody else. So that really sticks in my mind. So I actually got a marriage proposal out of the redress campaign. So I guess in that way you can say that it affects me personally, yeah.
Because we do so many joint events with the clinic, often, whenever, for example, if we have a press conference, the Chinese media often shows up and would interview AV, and then in turn will interview me. And so I tended to appear on Chinese shows all the time. And I remember at one AGM when I was a keynote speaker, I guess a few of the elder women had seen me on Chinese, and they came up and started to speak to me in Mandarin, not realizing that my voice had been dubbed on a couple of those shows. I think they were just fascinating to think, why is this black woman speaking Mandarin, and why isn't she speaking Mandarin now that they've came up to say that's right. And there she is again, being being invited to speak at this event that they're coming to with this Chinese organization. So I laughed. I had to say no. I'm not that voice on TV. It's just my face. So I do walk around pretending I speak Chinese.
Either before we submitted the application or after, we had to come up with the name of the clinic. And I remember KK Feng, who was the program director of CICS, was facilitating a discussion about the name. And at the time, I believe that we decided to use the word 公正, 公正, which means fair and just, right? As the name, and then bracket Chinese, serving Chinese and Southeast Asian communities. So, and I don't remember the evolution, how from Gongjing then evolved to, Metro Toronto, Chinese and Southeast Asian Leo Clinic. But yes, but I still remember Gongjing, that name came up, and probably it was in the application too.
Right.
Yeah.
The community was so different in 1987, and we knew a lot of our work was to try and find referrals, because we could not handle all the business ourselves, and nor were all the problems that came to us problems that we were permitted to or that we should handle. So we went through a Toronto lawyer directory. It was an orange book, and it was probably only an inch thick at the time. We literally went through it page by page to pick out every Chinese sounding last name. But we picked out about 100 names, and we sent a letter out asking if they would be interested in being on our lawyer referral list. And I remember distinctly taking a risk with the last name Lee, and sure enough, there was a Bay Street law firm, Mr. Lee, who I probably thought would not be Chinese, but actually was Korean, so it was actually Asian. But the letter was very terse, just saying, thank you for your letter. I am Korean, not Chinese. And that was the whole letter. So we took a risk, but we did build a referral list of lawyers. And like I said, now it's very different. But that's a good indication of how far our community has come over these years.